Today, this is a listening session.
Engagement is a key part of living in this country and anywhere.
Our East African community at large, in hiring these young guys who are coming in with a lot of skills.
Politically engaged.
Health disparity. It's well documented.
Somali business owners and the community are in a state of shock.
As long as we're not on the face, it will be gentrified. Okay?
I came to this country as a doctor. In my first job, I was in security.
Next step will be after hearing our concern.
They start to stand up and rise up as a community in the political arena.
We really appreciate you coming to listen to our concerns.
Here, but today this is a listening session, and it's great that we have a community, elders and youth, who are going to also ask questions, and we're going to hear from experts who are going to talk about important things from workforce development, housing, civic engagement, and public health. So I'm really happy that we have different, diverse voices from the East African
Care Center and the new Managing Director for East African Community Services. So I want to welcome you guys to our beautiful event that's being put together with Somali Health Board, Care Center, and Companion Athletics. Thing we're hoping our community will get from this event is really helping them understand that civic engagement is a key part of living in this country and anywhere in the world, and they have the voice to ask any questions, anything that's in their mind, and you're all here as elected officials by your citizens in your cities and in your country, and you're here to serve them and hear their concerns.
The Somali Youth and Family Club is serving our East African community at large. And also, we don't also discriminate any member of our community regardless of who they are and where they come and what do they believe. It is like everybody is welcome in our offices. The Somali Youth and Family Club has almost 4 offices in South King County. The nightmare that they see is that after 3 months, they are either evicted. After 3 months of their arrival here, they are either evicted from their homes or they are situated in substandard housing. And as you all know, housing issues is very serious because the prices are going high. What is very sad is that the landlords do not have any mercy for these families at all. They evict them and charge them unbelievable money. So we try our best to educate them through workshops, through finding jobs for them if that is necessary, through educating them of how to talk with but they need really continuous coaching, continuous support.
And Abdi is a youth actually who is a mediator for King County's Restorative Justice Program.
For the second question, how can we partner with our elected officials to increase economic mobility and opportunity for our youth?
If we look into the education right now, as you all know, there's the Best Stars for Kids, which has funded tremendously the whole community and all the communities at large. And we have received a substantial amount to improve from schools out Washington to improve our education in the area where we stand, which is Skyway, under Hasagawa's umbrella.
He's actually an expert in workforce development and has done a great job not only working with East African families but also Congolese, Bhutanese, and other folks. And that's one thing that I always commend Amina for. So one of the questions is going to be, we're moving on to employment and economic development. So the question that I would like to ask Amina is, the East African population community is disproportionately affected by the lack of access to living wage jobs. How can you partner with us to address this?
In regards to economic development, it's a wide topic that one entity cannot tackle. And by saying so is that there should be understanding and priorities for each community. When refugees and immigrants arrive here, Each community is different, and their priorities are way too different. A lot of East African communities are arriving here with a lot of skills, especially the young ones. And it is to the benefit of the King County as well as all elected officials to understand and make a leeway in regards to their own government entities in hiring these young guys who are coming in with a lot of skills. We are having a lot of engineers that are arriving into this country. We do have people who are, I was working with a 22-year-old who has worked in an oil company. And in Dubai and Emirates, he's only 22-year-old. He's coming in with a computer science, and from a very good university in Kenya. And it's very unfortunate that I had to place him in at the airport, and he's making $17 an hour.
Thank you so much, Amina. And I do have another question that actually is affecting us at the moment. As we do know, businesses in Tequila have been affected, and they're asked to move out, right? They're displaced. We're not only talking about homelessness, but also our businesses, right? The community members who brought businesses that do serve the population, halal meats and other spots, are forcing them out. What can our elected officials do to mitigate this devastating impact?
Well, I would say elected official can do the minimum. I think we as a community, we need to be able to handhold and advocate. And unless we advocate for our own needs and really show the officials that we live in this city and that we are voters of this city, the elected officials, their hands are tied too in regards to really telling an owner of a property not to sell or to sell. So I think it needs to come from the community to the elected officials. We need to be holding our elected officials accountable. Currently we do have an elected official that we have just elected and who is representing us in Tequila, Mr. Abdulrazak. We need to make sure that we hold him accountable because to my understanding, City of Tequila is the one that has bought these properties. In Marwa and all these properties over here. They bought my office too. Sooner or later, I just heard that my office has been sold. So in the next few years, I don't even know where we're gonna head to. So City of Tequila, we need to hold City of Tequila accountable in regards to what is their plan for this community that have built businesses. As we know, East African community are entrepreneurs. And and that's how in reality they become self-sufficient, is through earning small business and then raising their kids. So the issue is that when you push these families away and they close Bakara or Marwa and all these businesses, what is their plan? Are they planning to give other land that people can build and start their own businesses? What is the city? Is the city saying that we don't want the diversity of this community and this community needs to go away? So I'm not 100% sure, but it is something that we need to be accountable for in holding our officials as well.
This, I'm not asking you, I'm trying to respond to that. Our vision community organizations, East African community organization, is for the immigrant and refugee population to be socially included, politically engaged, and economically self-sufficient, contributing members of the counties, the cities, the communities that they live in.
Last but not least, one of our experts in the health field is Mohammed Aden. He's with the Somali Health Board and also works at the Public Health King County.
Including the community and the elected officials for finding your time to come and listen to us. So the question about health disparity, it's well documented. It's already in your hands. But what I will share with you is the specifics and the challenges that this East African community face in King County. As someone who has done a lot of work in that area, so to give you a perspective, when these new immigrants are coming from that part of the world, East Africa, so they come as health individuals, and as time goes by, depending a lot of factors, the new environment in King County, the language, and then other systematic barriers that they face, they end up becoming a seeker as day goes by, and its existence. So after seeing the challenges that we have seen, and being in the field of public health or health fields, and then with our innovative, creative individuals among us, that's the time that we came up with homegrown initiatives from the community owned to help the government King County to teach them how to do best way that you can deliver services to the community, because community could be this part of the solution instead of vice versa. Because if the government only thinks that it can do by itself and it has the answers for all questions that the community face, that assumption needs to be reconsidered.
Well, my name is Afshir Mohammed, and basically I'll be speaking on behalf of Somali businesses. My presence here this evening is to inform the city of Tequila that we, the Somali business owners, and the community are in a state of shock because we feel the authorities are unfairly tagging our businesses to demolition. Our reason is that 5 Somali businesses are asked to evacuate by the end of the year, and other businesses are nervous that they'll soon also be followed. On behalf of the Somali community and business owners, I'll end by demanding that the city of Tequila addresses the above issues. Also, for the next time, we demand that the city of Tequila and other King County cities to alert the Somali business much earlier on such decisions, and also to get us involved.
One time I was reading Walmart, his first book, and first thing that happened to him was when he opened his business, first Walmart. After 5 years, the owner came and said, "Hey, this business is booming. I need the space for my son." So from that day, he realized that next time he will open space will be his own. As long as we're not going to own the space, it will be gentrified. Okay? So this idea of asking the city of Tequila to find a space for us would be better if to find a space, have some share of that space by the owners, so that way they will be part of the owner of the land rather than just be temporarily here. Most of Somalis who are on the business actually have their own more space land in outside some United States than in Tequila. So they need to invest their own money in their own community. So that's one thing that we need to also do as Somalis. And second thing, we're asking this government to do help. Only time we always ask them help is when we talk about social services. We need to get out of that business. Somali community is mature. We have been here 25 years or more. We need to do something that in terms of workforce development, economic development. So the Seattle King County economic development is not serving the community. Okay? So they are based in Seattle. They are not working with South King County. Everybody who works there, everybody who's member of that board live north of Shipyard or east side. So we cannot expect people who live north of the shipyard to help us in the south of Shipyard. So it's time for us to be part of that board and figure out how to reinvent it. And second, I just created a small business and I went to ask some grants from the cities and the counties. And they say, "Oh, do you have a 503? No. I don't have to be a non-profit. When King County buy Metro, they don't go a small community to buy business. When city of Tequila or city of Kent do business with, trying to procure a program, they're not going to be prerequisite to be a small profit. It's time for the communities to dialogue in terms of workforce development is that we need to have small business in their existence, in their format.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about some of the obstacles we face as international medical graduates. I came to this country as a doctor, and my first job was in security. So, but I learned a lot of stuff, and I learned about different cultures. So that was the important thing. And we have to go through a lot of processes. It's not just you just come in the United States and you say I'm doctor. You have to pass examinations. You have to be certified by the Educational Commission of Foreign Medical Graduates, where you do 3 exams Each exam is like 8 hours. You have almost 300 plus questions, and each question you have to solve within 1 minute. Graduates to get in. You know, in Los Angeles or California, other East Coast states, an international medical graduate has 30% of chance for getting into residency, where in Washington State it's only 2%. So I think that's the biggest barrier. And Washington State is one of the most diverse states in the country. And for international medical graduates to have that 2% chance, it's really hard, if not impossible sometimes. But you know, I'm still continuing. Me personally, I'm still continuing. I was working for the last 2 years to get a chance to interview. And I got my first interview at Harborview Medical Center. I did it like a month ago. I hope I get in. Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, so I just wanted to hear if you know what your next step will be after hearing our concern. Thank you.
Really starting to stand up and rise up as a community in the political arena. You know, it's been about 4 years now, I think, when we passed that bill to allow 2 days leave of absence for matters of faith or conscience. And you know that came as a result of the Muslim community getting together and then building allies across other communities to build enough power so that collectively we had a voice and we got what we wanted. We got 2 holiday days to respect the Eids. I mean, that was just amazing, right?
First, I would like to thank everyone. We really appreciate you coming, elected officials. We really appreciate you coming to listen to our concerns. I want to make a quick reminder. January 15, we are going to start the first East African Lobby Day to Olympia. We have been hearing all these disparities and problems that we have. And one way we can change that is to lobby and let our elected officials know our concerns. So from here on, inshallah, to 10, 15 years later, it will be going on. And if you want to come with us that day, please take my business card. Next few days, next few weeks, we'll be planning that trip to Olympia.